Fast and agile, the mongoose is an animal that is an adept hunter that will feed on almost anything it can catch.
The mongoose is a small, sleek animal, similar in appearance to a weasel, that roams the forests and plains of Asia and Africa. Because of its rather bold temperament, the mongoose has been the subject of human myths and stories for thousands of years.
However, the life of a mongoose as a normal animal is far more complex and interesting than these myths suggest. Interesting mongoose facts.
The mongoose is an animal that is perhaps best known for its remarkable ability to kill snakes, like the cobra. Scientists believe that they have evolved a protein that provides some degree of protection against snake venom.
However, they are not completely immune from repeated snake bites. Ancient Egyptians would sometimes put mummified mongooses in tombs with their owners since they were common pets.
An Indian gray mongoose called Rikki-Tikki-Tavi was immortalized in Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book. Mongooses have horizontal-shaped pupils, similar to sheep and horses, to help avoid predators. In many places, mongooses are seen as an invasive species because they are a threat to native birdlife, including protected and endangered species.
Scientific name.
Mongoose is the colloquial, or common, the term for a group of similar species that belong exclusively to the family of Herpestidae. The scientific name derives from a Greek word for an animal that walks or creeps on all 4 feet. Mongooses occupy the same order, Carnivora, as cats, bears, dogs, seals, and raccoons. They are the most closely related to vivarids such as civets, genets, and linsangs. The mongoose is an animal somewhat more distantly related to the hyena, and an example of a feliformia, or a cat-like carnivore.
Evolution.
It is believed that at some point early in its evolution, these animals split into 2 different subfamilies, the Herpestini and Mongotini. A third subfamily called Galidiani was once classified with the other 2. Endemic to Madagascar, Galidiani was sometimes known as the Malagasy mongoose for its similar appearance. However, this subfamily is now classified as the family Eupleridae instead of Herpestidae. There are around 34 mongoose species still living.
This includes 23 species of Herpestini and 11 species of Mongotini. A few extinct species are also known from the fossil record. Mongoose species are unevenly distributed across the entire family. Some genera only have a single species in them.
The genus Herpestes, however, has approximately 10 living species, including the well-known Indian gray, the Egyptian, and the crab-eating mongoose.
Appearance.
These animals are typically slender creatures with elongated bodies, short legs, thin snouts, and small rounded ears.
The coat color is almost always brown, gray, or even yellow, sometimes interspersed with markings or stripes.
The tail may also have a unique ring pattern or coloring on it. Because of their appearance, some people mistake them for a weasel, even though their traditional range rarely overlaps.
The mongoose as an animal, not the myth.
Varies in size from one species to another. Their body can range from 7 inches on average for the diminutive dwarf mongoose to 25 inches on average for the massive Egyptian mongoose, while the tail adds another 6 to 21 inches.
This makes the typical animal about the size of a house cat.
The largest species can also weigh up to 11 pounds when fully grown.
Behavior. Their sense of smell is an important part of mongoose communication. This is facilitated by the presence of large scent glands near the anus that they use to signal for mates and mark their territory.
In fact, the scent gland is the primary characteristic that separates these animals from the civets, genets, and linsangs. Mongooses, the correct plural of mongoose, are animals that also rely on vocalizations to signal threats, begin courtship, and convey other critical information to other members. They have an impressive range of sounds to communicate with each other, including cries, growls, and giggling. Each sound is accompanied by a different set of behavior. The Herpestidae family in general exhibits a wide array of social structures and behavior. While some species thrive in solitude or small clusters, other species live in colonies of up to 50 individuals. The well-known meerkat, for instance, which was made famous by a TV show, lives in large cooperative bands with a distinct social hierarchy. Individuals are sometimes responsible for specialized tasks such as guard duty, hunting, and child protection. The colony lives or dies based on the actions of each individual member. The particular social arrangement of a species may be related to its physical size and type of animal. The larger and more physically intimidating Egyptian mongoose is a lone hunter, while the smaller dwarf mongoose is a more social creature that staves off predators by clustering together into large groups. Alone, an individual is vulnerable. But even smaller animals can be difficult to kill when it is part of a pack. The mongoose's small size conceals its rather bold disposition. The creature is able to hold its ground against dangerous predators much larger or more aggressive than itself. Being able to kill snakes, even venomous species, is only one example. These animals can also sometimes evade or bamboozle deadly predators with their impressive speed and agility. Some species can run at an average of 20 miles per hour. These animals are most active during the day while they hunt and socialize. They tend to spend the night in their dens asleep. Mongooses can be quite intelligent and playful, especially in social settings. Habitat. The mongoose is an old-world animal that thrives largely in hot or tropical areas. The largest populations can be found across sub-Saharan and eastern Africa, including most species of Mongoose and some species of Herpestini. They are also fairly common throughout a long stretch of territory in southern Asia, from China to the Middle East. Other common locations include southern Iberia, Indonesia, and Borneo. These are largely terrestrial mammals that roam the ground. They reside in a variety of different climates and habitats, including tropical forests, deserts, savannas, and grasslands. However, there are a few notable exceptions. Some species such as the crab-eating mongoose are semi-aquatic and spend a good deal of their lives in and around the water. They are quite adept at swimming with webs between their digits. Other species inhabit the trees, moving effortlessly between branches. The terrestrial mongooses, on the other hand, burrow into the ground with their big non-retractable claws. They spend much of their time within the complex system of tunnels they have created. Diet. These animals are opportunistic carnivores that will feed on a huge variety of different foods, whether living or dead. These may include reptiles, small birds and mammals, amphibians, insects, worms, and crabs. However, some species will supplement their diets with fruits, vegetables, roots, nuts, and seeds. If the opportunity presents itself, then the animal will steal or feed on another creature's kill. A clever animal, mongooses have learned the ability to smash shells, nuts, or eggs against rocks to crack them open. It can pound the object directly against a hard surface or throw the object from a distance. This tactic is passed from one generation to another, which may represent a form of transmissible culture. The mongoose's diverse palate can be a problem for other species, however, and they have been considered an invasive species in some areas. Predators and threats. The mongoose has only a few natural predators in the wild, such as hawks and big cats. Larger mongooses can ward off predators through sheer physical size, but smaller species in particular are vulnerable to predation from large carnivores. The mongoose is also sometimes threatened by venomous snakes, but thanks to its agility and speed, the mongoose is more than a match for the fearsome reptile. Its sheer adaptability has enabled it to thrive across many different geographical regions around Asia and Africa. However, some types of mongooses are currently declining due to habitat loss from human encroachment. They require ample space for burrows and social arrangements. In the 19th and 20th centuries, human settlers introduced mongooses around the globe, particularly to several oceanic islands such as Hawaii, to help with pest control on plantations and farms. Although mongooses rarely succeeded in this task, it did have the unintended consequence of driving much of the local wildlife, including many unique bird species, to the brink of extinction. For this reason, mongooses are considered to be one of the top invasive species in the world, and some efforts have been made to cull or limit mongoose populations in non-indigenous areas.
Reproduction, babies, and lifespan. Mongoose reproduction varies widely between species since it is often a reflection of their social structure.
Solitary mongooses only meet up at regular intervals to reproduce, usually once a year.
One or both parents may raise the young pups.
Large colonies, on the other hand, tend to have a dominant member of the pack with almost exclusive breeding rights to several females, or sometimes there is a single male-female dominant pair. Once mating is completed, the female will give birth a few months after conception. She can give birth to a litter of anywhere between 1 and 6 pups at a time. The mongoose pups tend to grow up relatively quickly. After they are weaned, the pups will remain dependent on the parents for another several months. It can take between 6 months and 2 years for a pup to become fully mature. Among more social mongoose species, pups are introduced into the colony from an early age. When foraging, several members will stay behind to protect the young. In some colonies, a pup will choose a specific adult to provide regular sustenance and attention. Individuals may even form lifelong bonds with family and/or fellow members of the colony or pack. Lifespan depends greatly on the species, but a typical mongoose can live around 10 years in the wild and perhaps twice that in captivity.
Population.
Although precise population numbers are difficult to estimate, many mongoose species across the globe appear to be in robust health.
The Indian gray mongoose is perhaps the most widespread species.
It is commonly found throughout the Indian subcontinent and southern Iran in a single unbroken range. According to the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN, Red List of Threatened Species, the Liberian mongoose is the only species that qualifies for vulnerable status, while several other types of mongoose are near threatened. However, the Malagasy mongoose, though not a true mongoose, is under threat in its native habitat, since several species have fallen to endangered status. Habitat loss will need to be halted or reversed for some species to rebound again to their former levels.
Species. Herpestidae. Common slender mongoose, also known as the black-tailed mongoose, this common species is native to sub-Saharan Africa. Cape gray mongoose, these little mongooses are often seen darting across the roads of southern Africa.
They stand on their hind legs like meerkats. Indian gray mongoose, native to India and West Asia, the Indian gray inhabits open forests, scrublands, and cultivated fields close to human habitation. Java mongoose, native to Southeast Asia, the Java mongoose has a creamy sepia and rich tawny brown coat. Yellow mongoose, this mongoose is native to Asia and is known for its yellowish coat. White-tailed mongoose, one of the largest members of the mongoose family, the white-tailed mongoose can be found in most of Africa south of the Sahara and in the southern portion of the Arabian Peninsula.
Long-nosed mongoose, this is another of the African mongooses, occupying most of Africa south of the Sahara and in the southern portion of the Arabian Peninsula. Sealess mongoose, the only member of the genus Parasynictus, the sealess mongoose is native to southern Africa. Bushy-tailed mongoose, known for its bushy tail, this mongoose is found in Central Africa, from Kenya to central Mozambique.
Meller's mongoose, native to the savannas and woodlands of southeastern Africa, this little brown mongoose loves to eat termites.
Egyptian mongoose, this largest mongoose lives in Upper Africa, including Egypt.
Crab-eating mongoose, this species likes to hunt along river banks and bodies of water where they dine on crabs, fish, frogs, snails, birds, rodents, insects, and reptiles. They can be found in the eastern Indian subcontinent, southern China, southeastern Asia, and Taiwan. Mongoose. Ringed mongoose, also called the banded mongoose, this species lives in the savannas and grasslands of southern Africa. They are brown with white bands across their backs and feed mostly on beetles and millipedes. Gambian mongoose, this very vocal mongoose lives in groups as large as 40 in the Guinean forest savanna mosaic from Gambia to Nigeria. Pors argues mongoose, also known as the African tropical savanna mongoose, this species is native to Central Africa. Little is known about its distribution and ecology. Liberian mongoose, the social mongoose is native to Liberia and the Ivory Coast and is closely related to the ringed or banded mongoose. Ethiopian dwarf mongoose, also known as the desert dwarf mongoose, this little animal will send out warning calls to its clan if danger is present. They are native to East Africa, mostly Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia. Common dwarf mongoose, the smallest African carnivore, this little mongoose is extremely social and territorial. Common dwarf mongooses can be found in Angola, northern Namibia, KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa, Zambia, and East Africa. Cusamance mongoose, a smaller mongoose, the Cusamance is found in the West African countries of Ghana, Ivory Coast, Benin, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. It prefers forests near water instead of grasslands that other mongoose inhabit. Meerkat, probably the most famous mongoose of all, is the adorable meerkat. Native to South Africa, these highly intelligent creatures use complex coordinated behavior like chimps.